Here is the 50mm f1.2 RF lens, L series lens, and it is £2,500. Here is the 50mm f1.8 RF lens, and it is £200. This is the Nifty 50. So this is a head-to-head test between these two lenses to see how much better quality you get from £2,300. Now, before we start the test, I need to thank Wex Photo Video for providing me with these lenses. And if you do want to buy these lenses, or any camera equipment in fact, please use the link in the description of this video. It will take you to Wex Photo Video store, and we will get a little bit of money out of any sale. So before we start the test, let's just talk about the obvious differences. The size, I mean, look at the size between them two. That's an obvious difference. Another obvious difference is the focusing. On the f1.2, the focusing is a lot faster and a lot quieter, whereas on the f1.8, it's a bit noisy and it's obviously slower. You've obviously got the build quality between the two as well. You know, this is plasticky, this is metal. I mean, this is absolutely solid, you know. And the f1.2 has got just over 1 stop extra of light that it lets into the camera. So I'm going to keep this test as scientifically accurate as possible. It's not necessarily my style, but I know that that's the kind of thing that you guys want to see. So let's go and set up for the shot. So I'm set up now for the shot, and I'm taking a picture of a tree. Yes, very exciting, all right, but I said to you that I was going to keep it as scientific as possible. So we're in woodland, trees go off obviously into the distance, so that's where we can check the depth of field, etc. I'm focused on this one tree here, and then I'm going to take pictures with both lenses at f11, f5.6, f2.8, and then the lowest the aperture that both lenses go, which is obviously different. All right, then we can literally compare the two pictures side by side for, you know, quality, highlights, shadows, bokeh, and all of them types of things. All right, so let's take a picture of a tree. All right, the settings on the camera as well, just to keep it all exact, is ISO 100. I've got it on aperture priority, so I'm just going to change the aperture, and then the shutter speed is obviously going to change through the pictures. I've got my white balance set to cloudy because it's a very cloudy day, so that's just going to give the kind of most straight out of camera accurate lighting conditions, shall we say. I've got it set to a 2-second timer so that, you know, we get it absolutely still, and I'm using the Canon R5 as the camera body because it is a full frame, high quality professional camera, and it will enable us to get the maximum that we can out of both lenses. All right, let's take the shots. Right, first shot then is at f11 here. Here we go. Let's just double check everything. Yeah, raw files as well, obviously raw files as well. Here we go. That's a picture of a tree at f11. Exciting, isn't it? Right, now let's go down to f5.6. And again, focus in and take the picture. So I'm going to now just run through these because obviously it's going to be boring watching me do this. Okay, let's get the f1.2 on here. So now I've got the f1.2 50mm one, £2,500 by the way, which is £2,300 more than the last lens, and a considerable amount bigger as well. Right, let's check that everything is the same. ISO 100, aperture priority, white balance is on cloudy, We're shooting in RAW, 2-second timer. And that's it really. Let's change the aperture now to f11 so that we can do the test again. Here we go. That's the f11 one, change it to 5.6, then down to f2.8, and then down to the lowest that this will do, which is f1.2. I'll just crack through them now because it'll be boring for you to watch. I'm also going to take a picture of f1.8 on this one so that we can check the f1.8s between the two. Yes, I should have said that at the beginning, but here we go. I'm going to do that now. This is f1.8. And then the lowest one, which is f1.2. Here we go. So there we go. Now all we need to do is go back to the studio and really look closely at all of these images to see if at all there's any difference between the quality of a 2.5 grand lens and a 200-pound lens. See you soon. Right, we are back in the studio. I've got the images here on screen. I've had a really good look at them. I love doing these tests because it's an absolute shock. I can tell you that much, right? Before we look at the images though, let me take this opportunity to tell you about the courses that we run over at theschoolofphotography.com. If you want to learn photography properly and learn how to use these lenses and get really, really professional looking shots, come over and see us at theschoolofphotography.com. We have got courses in Photoshop, Lightroom, wildlife photography, macro, landscape, portrait, beginner photography courses, and we hold live Q&As with pro photographers every month. You have assignments, we've got prizes that you can win. And don't just take our word for it. Go and see our 5-star reviews all over the internet. Right, let's go and have a look at these images. So here they are here in Lightroom, and I'm just going to explain a few things to you. I have color coded the apertures for each picture so we can look at them separately. At the top here, I'm going to leave the information up so that you can actually see the lens that it was taken on. And the other thing I want to show you, I'm just going to clear filters for a minute, is the processing that I've done. And basically it's none. Okay, all I've done, I'm going to go over into develop at the minute now. And as you can see over here, nothing has been done except for I changed the camera's profile to Canon's camera standard, so it was as accurate as it can be from that Canon camera, because when you import them into Lightroom, it gives it an Adobe color profile to start with, but I wanted it to be as much out of camera, directly out of camera as possible. So the only thing I've done is change the color profile to the Canon standard one, so it's more accurate. We're going to go back into the library module here, and I'm going to click on the red image here, hold down the control key, click on the red image here, and then I'm going to hit the C key, and that will put us into compare mode. Now over on the left, as you can see, I've got the f11 shot taken here with the RF f1.8mm lens, the 50mm f1.8, and then over here I have the f11 shot taken with the RF 50mm f1.2, which is around £2,500, and this one's 200 quid, as you know already. Right, if you look at them like this, you can hardly see any difference whatsoever. I'm going to zoom in to 100% on the tree trunk here. Both images as crisp as you like. I can't see any difference between them two when it comes to sharpness in the center of that lens. It looks good to me. The only thing that I would say is that the color rendition between the two lenses are different. I'm going to zoom out again, and the colors in the expensive lens here, they seem to be a bit more rich, right? Let's zoom into this tree trunk that's sort of in the background here, and it's starting to blur out, obviously, because it's going into the background. But the colors are slightly richer on the more expensive lens. It looks to me like it's picking up more color. Now, I'm no expert at this. This is a realistic experiment as a photographer would do it. So you can see that there is more colors being captured very slightly, in my opinion. I don't know if that's the right word, colors, but certainly it's capturing a bit more detail there. And I hope that you can see it on your screen as well. Right, I'm going to click back to full screen it like that. And then we're jumping to the f5.6 comparison between the two. Again, on the right here is the expensive lens, and on the left here is the cheap lens. Sharpness wise, it's the same. It's the same. I mean, yeah, I don't really know what else to add to that. There's no difference there between the two. Colors, again, you can see, look in the whites. Look in the whites here of the cheap lens, and then look in the whites of the expensive lens. There's more color range, you know, there's more of a graduation of colors, I think. I mean, we are talking very slight, but it is there. Okay, I'm going to click out on that, and then we'll click into the background area just to check the blurriness between the two. No difference. No difference there, I don't think. And don't forget, guys, that, you know, you've also got an opinion. So there is comments in this video. Go and put your opinion in there for sure, because I'd love to hear from you, and I'm sure other people would. And this is the f2.8 version. All right, so let's look at them like this. First of all, you know, there's no one in their right mind that would tell the difference between these two pictures. I can tell you that for sure, right? So let's zoom into the tree trunk and check for a difference in the sharpness. And, you know, this, I can't see much difference. I don't know, if I'm being extremely picky, it's a bit more crisper in the f1.2. I'm not sure what screen that you are actually watching this on, but it's a 4K screen that I'm recording it on, and it's a 4K video that's being projected out to you. So you will see these pictures just like I'm seeing them if you're viewing them on a 4K screen. Yeah, so there you go. Maybe a tiny bit more sharper in the f1.2 there. Let's go to some background blurriness, shall we? There we go, that's quite cool. And it's a little bit creamier, isn't it? You can see that the expensive lens has got the edge on that kind of creaminess. It's hot, you know, it's very slight, but it is there. And again, I can see that the color rendition's is again very slightly better in the f1.2 lens, the more expensive one. Let's zoom back out and let's go to the next aperture that we tested. These are the f1.8s between the two lenses. Now remember, the cheap lens, the Nifty 50, only goes to f1.8. So this is the widest that it goes. So let's have a look at that first. And that's this one over to the left. I mean, it's really nice and soft in the background there. We're zooming. Again, I would say that there is a slight bit of difference in the sharpness of the 1.2. It looks a bit more crisper. And then we'll go to some blurry areas. I'm just going to zoom out here. Let's go to this area over here again. And there you go. All right. So f1.8 on the expensive lens, you can see that it is much smoother. You see that there? And then if we come over to the f1.8 lens, it's not as smooth. So don't forget that these are taken at the same focal length and the same aperture, but the expensive lens there, it's starting to pay off, isn't it? It's a lot more smoother. But if we zoom back out again, it's still really good. It's still really good, the Nifty 50. Now, the next test that we did was the widest aperture with the expensive lens there, right? Obviously, the cheap lens, the Nifty 50 there, doesn't have f1.2. So this is taken with the RF 50mm f1.2 at f1.2. This is its maximum that it goes. Again, it's absolutely crystal sharp on the focus point here. The background is as creamy and as smooth as you like. You can imagine if that was a portrait, it would look absolutely superb. And I just want to compare it, first of all, with the f1.8 from the same lens, and on the left is taken at f1.2, on the right is taken at f1.8. I'm doing it because if it was me looking for these lenses, this is what I would be wanting to check the difference of. It is there a major difference between f1.2 and f1.8. So we're going to look at that now. We're going to look at the expensive lens and we're going to compare it obviously with the other one. But if I zoom into the background here on both of these images, we've got f1.2 here, f1.8 here. You know, there's hardly a difference in that background blur between those f-stops. I'm going to click back out again, and then we'll go to kind of like a mid-range here, like a mid-range of the background. Again, not much difference at all. Let's come over to this tree trunk here. I would be expecting to see a bit more blurriness between those two apertures, but there you go, that's what it is. And now what we want to do is compare the f1.2 on the expensive lens with the f1.8 on the cheap lens. Okay, on the left I've got the expensive lens at f1.2. On the right I've got the cheaper lens at f1.8. So instantly when you look at them two together, you can see that there is much more bokeh and blurriness on the expensive lens there like that. The color rendition is better in the expensive lens there. And then let's just zoom into the background, and there you go. It is, I think, considerably more blurry in the background in the 1.8 there. Look, if you just compare these two light areas there. You know, this is very smooth, and that's got, well, it's got that bokeh circle, so you might like that anyway. You know, it's up to you, but there you go. And basically, that is the expensive lens pushed to its maximum, and this is the cheap lens pushed to its maximum. Now, what do I think? What's my conclusion here? The f1, firstly, the test was image quality. Okay, so let's just get this out of the way. When it comes to build quality, the f1.2 is a lot better built. When it comes to focusing speeds, the f1.2 is going to focus a lot more quicker and a lot more accurate. When it comes to weather sealing as well, obviously the expensive one's going to be better. So we know all of them things, okay? But when it comes to image quality, there is hardly any difference. There is a difference, you know, I've just shown it to you. Oh, and by the way, if you do want to go and have a really good look at these images, there's going to be a link in the description. It will take you to a blog post, and I will cut right into sections of these, make it really big and clear for you, and you can, you know, really have a good look at these images if you want to. So the link to the blog is in the description of this video. But when it comes to image quality, there is hardly any difference. Now, don't forget, the expensive lens is near on £2.5 grand, and the cheaper lens is £200, right? So by all means, if you've got £2.5 grand to throw around on lenses, go and get yourself the f1.2. I mean, it really is a brilliant lens. It's big and heavy, by the way, but you know, it's a great lens. But if you're on a budget for that Nifty 50 for 200 quid, that lens is probably the best lens that you are ever going to buy for the money. Now, you've had a look. Hopefully you've had a look at the blog post as well. Comment. I'd love to know what you think. You guys might have a totally different opinion. That's absolutely fine. Or you might agree with me. If you do agree, put it in. If you've got opinions on, you know, the lenses, put them in the comments. We can all have a discussion. It'll be great. Apart from that, you must like this video. You know how it works, all right? If you've liked this video, you've got to help me out. Press the like button, subscribe to the channel, share it with your friends. I'll see you in the next one. And remember, if you want to learn photography properly, come over and see us at theschoolofphotography.com.